your teammates really well, yeah, why not? You've just not won a single round in this matchup, and you're gonna start on one of the hardest side out of any map in a map pool, and you're trying to fuel your confidence back. I just don't get.
Waiting for somebody to try and appear somewhere.
Looking to get some control here. Pino's going to step out and manage to find himself one with the shotty. NIP looking solid on the defense so far. 5 versus 2. Rare manages to get the first for Black Dragons. Will it be the last? No. Muzi comes in and manages to find another. A real flurry of kills in the early round, but the first 2 minutes here, there's still a minute left on the clock. Rare has a little look at putting the diffuser down, but it's not going to work out. Fantasy manages to find that kill, and right now, you feel like it's a matter of time until NIP wrap up the first, but with Muzi on the board, you just never know him.
No, I think that's always it, really. We know the sort of history of a lot of these players, but you're up against Fantasy, you're up against Hates, and you're up against big challenge. 40 seconds, plenty of time. Oh, we'll see none of it.
So they're going to need to make sure here, Black Dragons, that they're getting everybody cleared out. Currently, it's got Hates and Fantasy are the two, joined by Cons now as well.
Ooh, caught in the middle of throwing a Kiba, and not really worth the life tread out there. Hornet did take a lot of damage for the sort of challenge onto it, but this is the sort of exchange. As I said before, the last round came down to a 2 versus 1 that, if there was a trade, it could have been different. Here, they do get that revenge on towards the IQ.
To go, that's going to become a problem for them. Hates is still up on that top floor and could well drop down for a flank at any point. That's just too easy. Cons goes up, Muzi knows better than that. Muzi's been around this game for a long time. Can't be giving himself away. Wizard manages to pick up Rare. It wasn't the kill that we thought it might be on our screen there, but it does get a job done for NIP still. And we've got everybody back in sight now. Hates was actually taken out on that top floor, so flank was unsuccessful, but NIP aren't going to mind that because he's wasted a lot of time. Only 25 seconds left to go, This is tough for Black Dragons.
Well, even tougher. Too impossible and done, actually.
In there to create that space, to create that lack of visibility for those top floor defenders. This is far too easy. Fantasy manages to pick up Machina there. The trade is going to come too late. Rare manages to get the kill. 4 versus 4. NIP still holding on from above.
Yeah, they've sort of got themselves in this 4 versus 4, but you're trying to wrap the pressure on this side. It's a bit awkward. Obviously, you can get the breach onto security terrace, but then you still have to get the verticality. They can still sort of play the backline. Pino does find Rare as well, which is the Blackbeard. Again, just an easy take, but Muzi on towards that air jabs onto Nobad. Does find Cons, does keep the sort of body balance back and forth, but an engagement around the top of green. Are they going to get the second follow through? There's a bit of support coming through them. I don't know about Wizard on the shotgun. Muzi doesn't need to know. Swings back, pulls away. Okay, 30 seconds, but they don't have the kit. That's the problem right now, and they're about to run right into a shotgun. There's the swing round, but he can't cement it. It's flashes and blinds against the Warden. No, that's a sacrifice, but there's a second.
Way when these two met in the regular stage play. I will have a look who it was in favour.
Deferral. The Selma will break. The position of Pino is very delicate. He's tracked and he's not quite blinded though. Gets one as Flash3 finds Fantasy in the same second as second for Pino. Pushes into the fire to try and find a third.
They've taken off the board, the Capitão and the Deimos gone. It leaves them with the sense. Yes, that's now going to be the tip of the spear when it comes to that execute. I was going to say, I'm not sure Rare's going to survive that long. He does manage to take down Pino, but about 60 HP damage done back in return. So NIP can kind of just play a game of attrition at this point. They can wait for the challengers to come, and they can just chip away at the health, because really, without Rare now, without that sense, if they lose Rare, they've got nothing to plant with realistically, the Black Dragons. So Rare just became real key, and this is not looking good. They're going to give it away. Flash trade. Rare taken down. It's too easy for Wizard M.
I mean, just keep spinning, just keep shooting. Over. That would put him 8-1 across all the rounds played so far. Okay, 8-2 because I said something. My bad. Because Pino gets just a double fed to him. That lack of information to him that you talked about before, it's just haunting them.
I can't believe that you jinxed Wizard like that, to be honest.
I'm so sorry.
You know,
I'm so sorry.
We'll move
I'm
past
gone.
that. 4 versus 2 as Ace manages to pick up a nitro onto Muzi, and Black Dragons right now seem to be falling apart at the seams. It's all crumbling down around them. This is their chance in the playoffs. They've got to get these wins to push themselves forward and look for as high a finish as they can. They managed to get something going. McKenna manages to take down Pino. 2 versus 3, 29 seconds left to go. Hits manages to pick up Flash Street, but here we go. McKenna, 1 versus 3 becomes a 1 versus 2, becomes a 1 versus 1.
All right, for everybody else seemingly lost in the reeds, Machina. Yeah, the machination of winning this round out, but all revealed on a bulletproof. His, position is well known. It's 10 seconds to try and find the fight rather than go for the plant itself. He can't quite recollect the kit, but they have just got out of there. Close on the fight either side, and he has just run out of time. Cons! Pressure on towards the side itself, but here's that vertical pressure you talked about. Just the swing round. They've already lost Hornet, and there's the cover though. Picked up 2, driven behind the mirror window. Looking for the swing round. There's almost the catch onto Rare, but Pino suffers just as much. Cons from the sky bridge. The rarely seen cross peak gets a punishment, and we are even. It's just Wizard doing everything, or wasn't even impacted. Just shot potentially, but through the gate gets 1. Wizard fights his way out, and you're thinking, okay, where's the pinch? They're just throwing themselves. Gifted on a platter to Wizards. And now Rare, all that's left in the middle of a pinch. NIP just playing this on contact has been perfect.
They'd lost the Grim and the Dorkaby, the 2 operators that you're going to look to. You're going to make it really difficult for the defenders to be able to move around.
With us, and not with the brilliant Brazil stream. You can explain it in chat. There goes the first. Just piggybacking off the Monty either side of green, and I mean, it's...
He can be aggressive, he can take the gunfights, but you're controlling when and where, because he's doing it from behind the Monte. Great stuff. And manages, and this is what I'm talking about with fantasy. Just that little notion of, you know what? I'm going to drop myself prone. Gets himself a third. Make it 4, M! Make it 4!
He has gotten 4 of his 5 kills. This round doesn't get the ace, but... I was believing. I was there with him. At this point, it's, roll on the lights, roll on the action.
Everything. See what you can get out of it.
Well, we really need more exciting days. And we are instantly off to a double shield. Yes. Once come back into a bit of fashion, come back into a bit of strength. And Rare is removed from a bit of strength, just drove their way in on towards Pillar. As I said, Information Games that is the true sort of king and queen here, and oh no, Muzi is also caught. So
getting that cleared out is going to be big for them. 40 seconds left to go. Wizard is getting those track stingers down. Hornet manages to peek around and get a kill, but Machina is taken out elsewhere. 3 versus 2 now. Advantage NIP. If they can come in here after the start that Black Dragons had in this round and get the win, it's going to be a hammer blow to the hopes of Black Dragons, and it's looking like it could be the case. 20 seconds left to go. Flashstreet on the Jaeger. Nisa, hold on, pokes his head out at the right time and manages to take one of them down. Wizard now.
Is Wizard
1 versus
the
1.
one who was stuck? Wizard's the one who was stuck.
I wasn't, yeah.
What do we do here? Because that's...
I wasn't sure if Wizard had become unstuck.
Chance at a hatch drop, just get some coverage. They're concerned about a C4 coming from underneath, but Machina is the player in the power position right now. If they do go for this hatch drop in the play, can just sort of swing around and maybe get a cheeky pick. Ooh.
It really felt for a minute we might see our first ever round that ended with all 10 players left alive, but a kill comes in either direction. NIP have left it too late here. They were no way going to be able to get that done. They've spent
impact on a C4. 2 pocket barbed wires that probably aren't going to come into play here from Rare. but nothing that's just going to lock you in on the drop down. Ready for the swing, not ready from it behind though, as they scream their way in towards Wedding, try and cut their way right across the site itself. VIP starts to explode, but they have just absolutely closed down there. Let's get one for the road, but is this going to be a post-plant situation? No.
Of course, the more aggressive the attackers are, and to a degree the defenders, but I feel like that pace of entry is generally dictated more by the attackers. Are they pixel spot here? Because, you know, you quite rightly pick up, they don't necessarily need to do this from the window. Their nade goes in, bang, pixel spot should be cleared. They could have done that EMP from the roof as well, but didn't need to. They've got it in through there. No ADS or Magnet picks it. That would have been my concern, would have been an ADS picking up the EMP. But no, they've got it done. 5 versus 2 as Fantasy manager to pick up Flash Train, and we're only a minute 15 into the round. If you remember last time, what did I say? It was 2 minutes 15 before that entry kill came in. This time NIP have recognised that. They've recognised it.
So once the lineup in this C4, there's the cover of the smoke. They're going to try and bait out that utility, but it hasn't quite come yet. There's the drop. There's the rotation of the planter, and now Cons is inside the site with a little bit of cover. Flastry is going to try and get the cross. The C4 catches the man behind the man, but at this point, well, there's Cons winning out against Flastry and Wizard winning out. It's a 3 versus 3, but is the Maestro cam why Cons doesn't feel safe planting? Yes, it is, as he has to drive in with the low health that he's on, gets it destroyed, but there's one just behind him as well, sitting, watching, and waiting for the screen to open. Gets the swing round. If they knew how low health Cons was, I think they would have just sent the Maestro cam, but now it's a 1 versus nobody. NIP.
Any plant attempts, so getting onto that white window is going to really help that. We saw the player just move away. Fantasy manages to pick up McKenna as well. Continued great play from Fantasy, and NIP get themselves
got out on the swing round. They've got themselves in towards the train room and all the way behind Dining, waiting for this player to just swing round. Got the first, almost got the second, but it is traded out. Muzi does get one on the back end, but 30 seconds, a 3 versus 2 as Wizard still on the ground at this point, was not converted into a kill. A bit of a hold here on towards White Stairs. The plant is being pushed over. There's at least one. Watched and waited for as Hornet. Now all that's left in a post-plant 1 versus 4 in track stingers as well. Just brutal from NIP.
But I'll be honest, I'd be very surprised to see it happen. I think NIP probably come out here. They know the value of round 7. Army or a mirror on the side of Black Dragons. We'll see who they opt for.
And as I think it's a big boon, which is something that the players can sort of drive behind. Yes, the team is a bit on the back foot, but all of them have been able to get themselves involved in the game. And as Hates gets dropped and picked back up by themselves, and Flastry gets Cons, just saw right of that grenade at the last second. Well, they're back in, and now they know that somebody is back in towards this corner as well.
They're getting things moving, but then they allow NIP back in, and NIP do a very good job of walking through that door once it's left open. But Rare is going to find Fantasy. This could be an opening attack for Black Dragons. If you remember, I said they needed round 7 and 8, level things up 4-4, guarantee themselves that they can be looking towards that overtime, but they've still got it to do. 1 versus 2. Can they get this one over the line?
I mean, they're trying to drive it around. Pino's doing his best, but Muzi, because without that prep wall open, those players can still play aggressive. And okay, fine, that's a bit of a missed moment. They just hopped in into Wedding and gunned down the player without any reaction from either the Malusi. They need somebody to now support them because they are entirely stuck, as Hates is still down at this point. They're caught either side, and for all the compliments sort of played with how long they sort of wasted time on it, now they've handed those kills. Pino gets one, but at this point, with only one down in the 3 versus 1. Ooh, and a scuffy fight there. I think.
Well, we will see if they can answer that question, and we'll see if they can give us the answer to why. In this one, Nitro goes out onto the window frame, does the job. Fantasy manages to pick up Hornet. Rare does get a trade for Hits, who was able to pick Machina up himself. Fantasy seriously low health.
But we saw a sneak through. Last time, net them pretty solid results. Fantasy seems to be just drifting around, trying to find a fight. Full send from Muzi was just closed down. Wizard gets another, leaving just Flastry alone. Well, the timeout has gotten them into a 4 versus 1. And they're still just sending it. And I mean, credit to him for finding one and almost putting the pressure onto the second. At the same time,
does that build them a little bit of momentum on defense? They've got their next ban coming in as well, and they can do that now reactively based on. Just gonna have Black Dragons working mostly from the outside at the minute. They've got 2 inside of reading room for the time being. They do manage to get the entry onto Fantasy as well.
Oh, this is such a good start, a good lead, and finding another background. Pino, he's done this a couple of times, but there's Hate getting that cross angle by just aggressively stepping back in, and Wizard gets one more, and it's all just falling apart here, Tim. I was gonna say Pino's good at getting one, but Black Dragons were quite good at pulling it back after, but with all that support structure around him, able to just pull and piece and put it to bed. NIP.
In that prep wall, willing to dump a nitro out there to keep it intact. That's going to mean that Wizard is out in the cold here, all alone. Black Dragons are building this well, but Hits gets the kill onto Machina elsewhere, and that could really distract Black Dragons from what they were doing, and it does. Wizard manages to pick up the kill onto Rare. That's the Blackbeard gone. Manages to avoid the nade as well. Wizard has done unreal work behind this bakery counter.
Maybe I should just not have said anything, not doubted him. He didn't need to retreat. No. Because he needed this game to be done. At this point, he's been massive, and Flastery has had some moments, but at the end of what has been a long showdown with 50 seconds and a lot of time, but also 2 smoke canisters, 4 players in a C4 and no kit and no health. I mean, they're just... If he steps into a last smoke canister, which is thrown, and now popped, it's over at this point. And you know, you have to give credit to NIP. We can talk about how Black Dragons have struggled. It's not the end of the road for them. It's obviously a double elim. They will at least, I think, still have a 5th and 6th, but I don't know if that's going to be played on stream at this point.
For a little bit. Pino, congratulations on the win, man. Everything there looked like it was really, really good for you guys the whole series. Talk to me about the maps. Neither one of you had played Lair, and then you played in the first map, and Cafe was a great map for you in the best of ones. So what did you think about the series when you saw what the bans were?
Yeah, the Lair pick was a bit unexpected. We practiced against them a lot of times on that map, and the results were, I think we won every time. So I think they wanted to counter us. I don't know. So when they picked it, it was good for us. We were happy about it, and we didn't expect it at all. And Cafe is like our best map. We have so much comfort on it. They have too. They almost beat FURIA, so we were confident to pick it. Like, we know our defaults are pretty strong, so yeah, it went really good for us.
You know, I need to ask you, because you shared so many good souvenirs with Muzi. How did it feel playing against him at LAM, this time in an opposing team?
Yeah, it's a bit weird to see him on the other team with another jersey, but when we get to play the game, we don't see who we are killing. So yeah, it's a good feeling to play against him. He stopped playing for 1 year, so it's good to see him back, and hope to play him soon on the major.
Was the game plan against Black Dragons to try and play against their inexperience, because they've got a lot of younger players, players that this is their first time playing on the LAN, playing in this type of environment. For you guys, was you trying to make that a weakness of theirs?
Yeah, I think that they didn't have that experience, so we tried to explore that the much as we could. Like, we are screaming for them every round we won, so yeah, I think they felt it.
Last question. You're going into a rematch against FaZe tomorrow in the bracket, and that Skyscraper game didn't really work out for you. What are you going to do to make sure that when you play them again tomorrow, that this series goes different than last time?
Yeah, I think the main problem there was our game plan. It was, on the paper, it was good, but when we tried to play it, we were getting a lot of opening deaths that didn't help us. So we need to fix that. We need a better game plan if they pick it. So yeah, it's gonna be different.
All right, if the game plan is better, then hopefully that series also delivers. Dude, again, congratulations on the win. You're moving through playoffs. We'll see you tomorrow against FaZe Clan.
Thank you.
They took care of business today.
Play really well here. I will say this: we've criticized Black Dragons pretty heavily every single time in this post match, but let's highlight NIP here, because it was also a matter of them punishing BD a lot. You know, it was a matter of them executing the right game plan. There were a little bit of I guess inconsistency in the opening engagements, especially. But except for that, I think we've seen a team evolve. We've seen Pino drop more than 20 kills in 2 maps. We've seen players back on on the team that are playing really well. Wizards especially still abusing the gridlock. We see a roster that's evolved.